My name is Claude Gasio. I was born an American in the city of Los Angeles on December 27, 1924. My family moved during the Depression in 1933 to Mexico, where I spent much of my youth. My grandfather owned a stationery store there, and my father took it over. When my grandfather died, my father was a gentleman, strict but good to us, and taught us well. I had 3 brothers and 1 sister. We all turned out right. 2 of my brothers went into the Navy, and 1 of my brothers went into the Army. I was back in Los Angeles that fateful day of December 7th, 1941, when Pearl Harbor was attacked. My cousin and I went that night and a few nights after to the beach, took my grandfather's gun and waited for the enemy. We thought they would come here. Soon afterwards, I volunteered for the United States Navy. I thought they needed help. After boot camp prepared me, I went to Bremerton, Washington, while the Cullinan Bay CVE-68 aircraft carrier escort ship was being built. Then I went to Astoria, Oregon, where I commissioned the ship. I have a certificate showing that one of the planks is mine. I first served in the Pacific as a cook. I became a seaman first class rank. Life is an experience, and I had my share of experiences. In 1944, a refueling line pulled me into the ocean. We were getting ready at the time to refuel at sea and going 15 or 16 knots. When I came up, my ship was just a dot on the horizon. I tried to touch bottom and treaded water without a life preserver for 4 hours straight before a destroyer looped back and threw me a heaving line. I spent the time thinking about my life insurance. Everything went through my mind. When I was rescued, I went limp, and it took 4 men to get me out of the water and on the deck. The corpsman brought a medical bottle, and I told them to drink it. The lieutenant took a big gulp for me. After that, I never removed my life preserver from my belt. Later that same year, I was in the Pacific for 7 engagements. I served in the Pacific Islands of Palalu, Saipan, Tinian, and the Marshall Islands, and the Gilbert Islands. Then I was in the Philippines. On October 25th, 1944, you might say I had my defining moments during the longest sea engagement in the history of the U.S. Navy. It was the battle for Leyte Gulf in the Philippines. We were on a small aircraft carrier, the USS Cullinan Bay, among 5 other carriers and 7 U.S. destroyers. We were known as Taffy 3 under the Rear Admiral Ziggy Sprague. Our call letters of the task force was 77.3.4. We were part of the air support for General MacArthur's landing. We were a small escort carrier, 500 foot long, and not a fighting ship. We were greatly outnumbered and outgunned by 4 battleships, 6 cruisers, 13 surrounding Japanese destroyers, including the Yamato, the largest battleship ever built in the history of the world. It had 18-inch guns. We took 16 direct hits. 2 of them were from 18-inch shells, plus 48 to 50 shells that were 5, 6, and 8-inch shells. The USS Gambian Bay, part of our convoy, was sunk that day. It was the only aircraft carrier we ever lost to enemy ship fire in the history of the U.S. Navy. The other loss was the USS St. Lo, hit by 2 suicide bombers that afternoon. I'll never forget that day. I was an anti-aircraft 20mm gunner when I was hit by shrapnel from a shell passing through our ship. In the afternoon, we lost a lot of men. After being hit by 3 suicide bombers, these men were my friends, men we played cards with. We were a pretty tight bunch, living together in small quarters. Even after all these years, it is still hard to talk about them. They didn't make it, but I did. It hurt me when I think back on it. I received 2 presidential citations, one from the Philippine president and another from the President of the United States. I was awarded the Purple Heart. I was honorably discharged from the United States Navy and returned to San Pedro, 16 miles from my home in Los Angeles. I became a truck driver and moved to Fresno. I had 45 years on the road without a chargeable accident. I retired in 1985. I now serve as a historian for Fresno Order of the Purple Heart. One of our projects is to prepare Christmas bags for veterans. I have 6 children and 6 grandchildren. I also have 8 great-grandchildren and 1 on the way. I've kept in touch with some of the men I served with. We had our 60th reunion in San Diego this year. I say to future generations, keep up the good work and be good citizens. Stay out of trouble. We did what we could for you, as you can do for the next generation. We have a wonderful country, one worth defending.